Alright, what's up, kings and queens? Welcome to another episode brought to you by us, the educators. I am Oba, and I'm here with my brother.
What's good, everybody? Shabazz.
And we're bringing you another installment in our NBA contenders currently and for the future. And the thing is that this current team we're about to do, the Los Angeles Clippers, are a very unique team. If you ask me personally, they're the team who I figure will win a championship in the next 3-4 years. What's that Pat Beverly comment he made to Steph? When they first got Kawhi and Paul George 5 years ago, he made a tweet said, Steph Curry, you've had the NBA for 5 years, now it's my turn. Remember that joint?
I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
The exact word.
Yeah, and Pat Beverly tweeted it out 5 years ago.
Hey, I love the confidence.
Yeah, confidence was high, and a lot has changed in 5 years. As you can see, Pat Beverly is with the Lakers now, been with the Timberwolves.
Three different
teams since that point.
From the Jazz,
even the Jazz. Even the Jazz.
All over the place.
And the point of that is that the Clippers are a team that has, you can kind of say, underperformed and overperformed.
Yeah.
They were 42-40 last year. They finished 8th in the NBA. And you may say they had Kawhi and Paul George. Well, Kawhi and Paul George have not played more than, I want to say, 40 games or 30 games during the regular season together.
They've played, so in the 3 seasons they've played together, the record together is 59-21.
Oh, gosh.
59-21. That's not even a full season.
Not a full
that's
season.
Over 3 years. That's the record together over 3 years, bro.
And you gotta understand, they're not even playing anywhere near 82 games together, and this is a team that's getting to the playoffs and still not able to play together. Most of their minutes have come in the first round against Luka.
Exactly. That's literally their highlights together.
That's what it's
literally.
literally.
Any highlight Kawhi and PG together, you're gonna see them versus Luka.
That's it. And it shows you how great they are, because Luka, who got to the Western Conference this year for the first time because he had to deal with them, now you see like how good two-way defenders are, a la Jordan and Pippen. You know what I'm saying? And it's a rare thing to pull off, and you see why the Clippers went all in. But the other side to that is the injuries. Now, because they missed so much time, the Clippers have been relegated to like one of the lower seeds, but have overperformed because of their depth.
100%.
You understand? And that has allowed them to get to the 8th seed and 7th seed in the last 2 seasons, but not do anything past that.
And that's something we always overlook because we don't factor in the situation.
100%.
The Clippers, they're literally cursed as a franchise.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Since the Chris Paul days.
And he's a little young, but the Clippers have been cursed forever. Before Chris Paul, they got like 3 or 4 number 1 picks, top picks. You understand? Lamar Odom, Michael Olowokandi.
Oh, yeah.
They used to do the little joints in the headband.
AKA before my time.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna throw that in there for all y'all young pups. But the Clippers have been cursed. They've been exciting for a small stint. They've had random number 1 picks, but it's always injury or something random. And before Robert Sarver and the Suns, there was Donald Sterling. He was one of the first owners to be forced to give his team up. So we have the Robert Sarver thing going on with the Suns. This is how Steve Ballmer ended up with the team.
Oh yeah, not too long ago.
Yeah, because he was caught saying racist things. And people don't realize that a lot of these owners feel this way. You understand? That's the reality of situation. Think about it. It's called owner, and had to change it to the word governor because of how it sounds.
The reality though is just the wording of it is so powerful.
Powerful as hell.
He owns these players. And in his mind, that's how he looks at it. I own you.
You know what's crazy? We're going to put a little bit of clip in here. Donald Sterling literally was caught on tape saying, I own them. I give them big houses. I give them big cars. I give them everything they want. You understand? And I own them. That's what he's basically saying.
If you don't feel, don't come to my games. Don't bring black people and don't come.
Do you know that you have a whole team that's black that plays for you?
Do I know? I support them and give them food and clothes and cars and houses. Who gives it to them? Does someone else give it to them? Do I know that I have? Who makes the game? Do I make the game or do they make the game? And there's 30 owners that created the...
That just shows you the European mindset just...
And even in connection, you know Ime Udoka, who went down with his little flings and all that?
Yep.
Donald Sterling was recorded by his jump-off side piece. She recorded their phone conversation of him talking about the players and how he was owning them. That's how it leaked. You feel me?
Always something going on.
It's wild, bro. Hey, fellas, be careful who you talk to.
You
Man.
know, always catching and slipping, man.
Hey, man. Hey, man. So, with that being said, we're going to get into it. Lawrence Frank is a GM. Tyronn Lue, who's a great coach. This is going to be one of his toughest tasks if the team is healthy, trying to get chemistry.
What makes you believe that Tyronn Lue's a great coach?
I believe the things that he has done with this squad, because like you said, Paul George and Kawhi have not really played.
Yep.
And they've been able to add all kinds of random players. If you look at the list, just even from last year to this year, what's your man's name?
Which one?
The trade that they made last year to get Covington.
Oh, Powell.
And Powell.
Yep.
Them two didn't even play. You lose your two best players for most of the years. For 5 years you're there, and you're still a playoff team.
Every single year.
Every single year. Talent-wise, this team is part of the equivalent of, in the Western Conference, they should be fighting for the play-in. Or maybe 11 seed, 10 seed maximum.
100% based off strictly talent.
It's off strictly talent. But because they've overperformed, they've always been the 8 seed, 7 seed. It's just the West is so tough, so it's hard for them to keep it up. So the players they lost last year, Eric Bledsoe, not really a factor.
Nah, we not worried about him.
Isaiah Hartenstein had some good minutes, but that shows you how good Ty Lue has been doing because Isaiah Hartenstein has been giving them decent minutes.
Yep.
Serge Ibaka has broken down a little bit, but it didn't get much from him. He's supposed to be another piece.
Now it's all good.
Yeah, go ahead. Hey, that's transitioning. Keep in mind that transition word. We're gonna talk about that later. They lost Keon Johnson. He was in the trade for Norman Powell and Covington. Lost Justice Winslow. He was also in that trade as well. So they didn't lose much compared to this year. When you fast forward in terms of additions, they added John Wall. The rookie Preston, who was I believe was undrafted, a second round pick. Very talented point guard. He will be playing this year after breaking his foot last year. Now Norman Powell is going to play. Norman Powell got traded and played like maybe 5 or 10 games and he got hurt.
Yep. I remember in his first game with the Clippers, my man dropped like damn near 30.
Exactly.
Off the bench.
Exactly. So now you're going to get a chance to have Kawhi Leonard play with all these players, get Paul George to play with all these players, and you add John Wall.
John Wall. Excellent facilitator.
Excellent. Now the key thing is John Wall is used to being by far the clearest best player on his team most of the time.
Yep.
So this is going to be a unique situation where he's the third best player. This is the first time in his career that I've watched John Wall where he wasn't the first best player.
Yeah.
The first time I ever seen him in high school, college, Wizards. Like Bradley Beal was not the person he was now, and he's still not better than John Wall.
Hell no.
So
Bradley Beal at his best right now, him averaging 30, whatever you want to say, is not better than John Wall when John Wall was cooking with the Wizards.
Definitely not.
That like what, 6-7 year span he was going off.
Yes. Elite. To me, it was top 2, top 3 point guard in the league. I don't care what you say. Yes, Curry and Kawhi and Curry and Kyrie, all of them were there. John Wall was top 3. And we could talk about that in another episode. But you added many players to surround that core nucleus of
super deep.
Yes, very super deep. But the problem is injury prone. If these dudes stay healthy, to me, they're my favorite to get to the finals in the Western Conference. If they stay healthy.
And I agree with you 100%. And what you, like you said, the injuries, I feel like that's a downfall for damn near every team, but especially this team right here. You know, like going back to even that statistic with Kawhi and Paul George only playing less than 80 games together in over 5 years. You know, that in itself is wild to me to think that, man, we barely seen them play together.
Barely.
And they both already 32 plus, older than 32, 33 in that range.
And to be honest, originally I felt like the biggest things with this team would be the chemistry. Who's going to start the one between John Wall and Reggie Jackson? I believe John Wall was going to start because he's better at facilitating, and Reggie Jackson's more so of an attacking pick and roll player. But Reggie Jackson has matured greatly over the last 3 years. If you see some of his interviews when he came back to the Clippers, he's earned his way back into the NBA. He's about to be out the NBA. And you can tell has humbled him in how he approaches the game. And then to play with 2 stars like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George also humbles you.
100%.
So, to me, I felt like he should go to the bench and come off the bench and bring that spark. John Wall has a chance to be off the bench and actually run that unit of high levels. Well, I'm gonna say high level scores, but scores. Like you made the point earlier that the Clippers have a plethora of scores off the bench, and in most cases, NBA teams don't have scoring punch. So the 6 man is usually relied on to give that extra punch, which is why I thought Reggie Jackson. The point you made is the Clippers have a bench full of players that can get theirs. So you need a player like John Wall, who's a veteran, who's respectable, to kind of manage that. And one of my biggest issues that I had written down was too many mouths to feed and egos.
Yeah.
I think that formula that you pointed out with John Wall fixes all that. It fixes all that. So that was a great point. And
that's the thing too with that John Wall on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had said, Reggie Jackson, yes, he can play make to a certain extent, but John Wall will elevate everybody else on that bench.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Exactly. The next thing is the championship window of the Clippers between now and the next 4 or 5 years. And the one thing we've noticed that, like I said, we can't rely on them. They've had 4 years together now.
4 years together, and haven't even played a full regular season together.
Now, Kawhi has re-signed, I think a year ago. He re-signed while he was hurt. PG, I'm not sure if PG re-signed, but I feel like he's on pace, if not. And the thing is, most teams, like the Warriors, have a mixture of young players and older players. This team has the same thing, but the Warriors' young players all have potential. At least 3 of them have potential to be top 10 at their position.
Star level players. 100%.
These young players kind of have to rely on Paul George or Kawhi to hopefully hold on, because what we've noticed is that since Kawhi has left the Spurs, everyone knows Kawhi can't play a whole season. Everybody knows that Kawhi can't play back-to-back games.
Yep.
He can't take on too much of a stress load, and each year he's gotten hurt. He wasn't even doing that much other than playing the playoffs and just playing his regular pace, and he got hurt. And Paul George, on the other hand, the great point that we came up with earlier was that every time Paul George is at an MVP-like season, he gets hurt.
Look it up. Puck.
And the key thing is that, which means you can't really have Paul George going too hard two-way and playmaking. You kind of have to have all the players fit in with Kawhi and Paul George just to lessen their load even more than you already have been doing since you signed them.
Because that's the thing. Look at what the Clippers have Paul George doing. Playmaking, scoring, guard the other team's best player, get steals, create for others. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't ask all that for Paul George.
He does
That's
everything.
why the John Wall addition was so huge.
Exactly. John Wall, as well as their young players, taking a leap, adding pressing.
Yep.
So you got playmakers all over the court. You got 3 playmakers on the team, really 4. And 5, actually. Norman Powell, John Wall, Reggie Jackson, and PG.
Yep, so that's 5.
Yeah, that's 5. And not to mention, Kennard can play make. You know, Kawhi can play make a little bit, in little pinches. So
Kennard off that pick and roll.
Exactly. So with that being said, I normally would give them a 1 or 2 year window. Excuse me, in the Rona. Steve Ballmer, I believe, extends that window, because when you have an owner or governor, whatever you want to call it, who is excited about the sport that he owns and is not using it as just a method to enslave some black, strong, fast, tall dudes,
100%.
you tend to have a team that always is going to be competitive in some kind of way. So because of that, I give them a 1 or 2 year window of winning the championship, but they're going to be respectable from here on out, unlike they were for the last 50, 60 years.
Exactly. So, like you said perfectly, this owner will make sure he does whatever it takes to get a solid team or have a team that could compete.
100%.
The window that I'm really seeing for this team right now, as constructed, I'll give them 3 years max.
I agree there. That's
3 years maximum.
I give that.
You know, just simply like we said, the wear and tear on PG and Kawhi already, because their health is the determining factor for this team's success. I don't care what other factors you want to add or whatever it may be. Those two, Kawhi and PG, their health determines everything for this team to succeed within the next 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, and they're not going to last 5 6 years, which brings us to our next point, which is, if you listen to Kawhi Leonard's media day press conference, Kawhi doesn't talk that much, but when he talks, everything he says is kind of meaningful. And he mentioned several times, go look it up, please. The first 2-3 minutes, he's talking about interacting with NBA legends, talking to players at the top 75 anniversary, getting advice, And the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm thinking that he's asking for advice on how to rehabilitate, how to expand his game, how to last long in the league. And Kawhi, not once, not twice, but I think about 3 times he mentioned he was seeking advice to learn how to transition out of basketball, how to figure out other things to do, seeing what other retired players have been doing. And you can kind of see, like here at the Educators, we tend to be able to overlook and underlook and look all the way around of every little situation. You understand? The target symbol is representative of seeing a circle and then another circle, which means there's always another scenario or situation, something behind what you're already seeing, what the person's actually saying or doing. And Kawhi Leonard, I feel like it's hitting that retiring soon. That is the ultimate thing why I say, like, maybe I can agree with 3 years maximum.
Yeah,
I can agree with that.
and even knowing Kawhi already, if you didn't already know, Kawhi has already produced several music albums.
Yeah, he has a mixtape that he has made, and he has another one in the works. Kawhi has 2 children. He don't care about the spotlight. Giannis made a joke the other day. He said when he retires, he wants to disappear like Tim Duncan. He said, "Where's Tim Duncan?" And no one knows. And for Tim Duncan to be such a great player, most of the time, legendary players are always in the media. They always come back to the NBA in some kind of form or fashion. And Giannis said he won't disappear when he's done. Kawhi, I bet you your bottom dollar, Kawhi don't want to ever be involved in the media once he's gone. He's done. So that conversation that he had on Media Day, the things that he spoke about, unprompted though. It wasn't like they asked him, Kawhi, how you, are you thinking about retirement? What's your next plans? He brought this up by himself.
That's the main thing too. They asked him, I don't recall the exact question, but it had nothing to do with retirement.
Exactly.
And he initiated that.
So with that being said, the Clippers are a powerful team if they stay healthy. That's really what it comes down to. Which is most teams, but especially these guys.
Yeah, this is the biggest case where health matters, or one of the biggest cases.
Exactly. We've seen health of the Clippers. We've seen health of the Brooklyn Nets and how that messed them up. We've seen the Warriors be held back for the last 3 years because of health. We've seen the Pelicans because of health to their main player. We've seen health to mess up the Sixers, the Lakers, health. So health is going to be a recurring thing within this whole and all these installments of these top NBA contenders. But the Clippers, they haven't even had a chance to see their top players play together.
Especially not on the biggest stage.
At all. So, with that being said, like I said, Clippers, smaller window than other teams because of the injury-prone players, and they don't really have any superstar young players that are in the making, unless they draft somebody random, which is always a possibility.
Yeah.
But other than that, Steve Ballmer's excitement as an owner is what's going to propel them, allow them to continue on whatever respectability they have in the league. But other than that, that's all we got for the Clippers. You want to add anything, bro?
Yeah, I was going to say, don't expect the Clippers to be a high seed in the regular season.
Great point.
That's the final thing I want to say.
Great point.
Don't expect the Kawhi to play more than 60.
Great point.
If you want to see them succeed in the playoffs, Kawhi should not play more than 60. PG should be somewhere in that same range.
I agree.
And yeah, honestly, people might say, oh, they need reps together, this and that. As long as they get at least 60 games in,
I agree.
50 plus together.
And going to playoffs healthy.
Exactly. That's the biggest thing.
I agree. Great point.
Outside of that, nah.
Hey, other than that, make sure you stay on your purpose. Make sure you take care of your body so you're not injury prone through life.
Hey.
Eat what you need to eat and make sure everybody around you eats, B.
Everybody eats, B.